This is a video on my Dye i4 GoPro mount. This video is going to cover the features of this mount. It's going to cover the installation of this mount, and it's also going to talk about how to buy this mount and what other things you might need to buy in order to mount a GoPro onto your Dye i4 mask. Basically, the three things that make this a little bit better than the other i4 GoPro mounts on the market is that it has a flushed bottom so that it actually meshes with the air ventilation part of the Dye i4 mask. It also has little inserts, basically, so that the slightly larger ventilation struts on the i4 mask kind of mesh into the mount so that it doesn't interfere with the contact between the mount and the mask. Finally, it has really well positioned holes so that when you put the holes through the masks, it's really easy to actually install this. I know that a lot of other mounts on the market have really large holes or holes that just don't line up because they're for like any, paintball mask or whatever. So this one is specifically for the i4, so it lines up perfectly with the air ventilation struts. To attach the GoPro mount to your Dye i4 mask, you're going to need a few things. First, you're going to need 4 10mm or 1/4 inch M2 or 256 screws. You're also going to need nuts for those, and I would recommend lock nuts, but I don't have any, so I'm going to be using regular nuts right now. You're going to need your Allen key for those, and then pliers that help you out, and Loctite if you're like me and you don't have lock nuts. You're also going to need this screw for the GoPro and the nut, which I got by pushing out of one of the little elbows that they give you with the GoPro. The first thing that you're going to want to do is take off the lens. So you go in here and you look at these little tabs and you push that out. Oh, I'm sorry, you push down on it and then you push out so that the hook here basically comes out and doesn't engage with the lens anymore. You're going to do that on the other side, and then you can just push the lens right out. Now we're going to actually put the mount onto the i4 lens. You're basically going to line up the little slots with the slightly taller struts here, and you're just going to have it sit there. You put your screws through the mount and the struts so that they're all on there, and then you're going to take your Loctite, you're going to put it on each one of these guys here, and then you're going to basically screw that on so that it sits with the mount. As you can see there, basically your nut is on the bottom, the screw is on the top, and pretty simple. You're going to continue doing that with all of these guys. So now you have the mount attached to your Dye i4 mask. Next, you're going to put your GoPro on. So you're just going to slide that on. You're going to take your screw here, GoPro screw, push it through, put the nut on the other side, and just screw it on. If you want to, you can use super glue to attach that nut to that side so that it's easy to put it on, take it off and such, but it's not really necessary. Then you have your GoPro attached to the mask. Slide this back on and hook these through, and you're all set. If you want to get your hands on one of these, you can go to Shapeways, and the link for that is in the description below. You're basically going to be faced with a few different options, and most of them are basically concerned with color. There are a few different options in terms of different types of plastics on Shapeways, and fortunately, these are all only concerned with the surface finish of the mount. So if you're really interested in looking good, you can get a much better surface quality, but you're not going to be changing how sturdy these mounts are. Basically, the strength properties for all of these mounts are going to remain the same across the board for all the different types of plastic. You're going to have to buy some mounting hardware in addition to the i4 mount, and that's going to include screws. And these screws can just be any M2 or 256 screws that are around 10 millimeters or a 1/4 inch long.